The country is investigating the whereabouts of $500 million recovered from a former president's family. Sani Abacha was a general in the Nigerian army and served as de facto head of state in the 1990s. The lump sum was repatriated from offshore accounts belonging to his family. Now, during President Goodluck Jonathan's administration, as the funds were recovered in foreign jurisdictions, the countries concerned insisted the cash be used for development initiatives, including infrastructure, healthcare and education. However, detectives working for Nigeria's Economic and Financial Crimes Commission have been tracking the cash and discovered it is missing. Let's hear more about this missing money from Nigeria. Deji Badmus is joining me from Lagos. Quite an interesting turn of events there, Deji. This case is getting quite intriguing. What more do we know about the missing cash?
Quite intriguing, Beatrice. Is the era of missing cash in Nigeria, if you like, anyway. But seriously, this actually happened under former President Goodluck Jonathan. The money was actually money sent back by a particular country now from the Abacha loot, $500 million. Now, what we have learned is that the EFCC has been able to trace at least a portion of that money, $250 million. We understand the EFCC has been able to trace. And as a matter of fact, this money became a subject shortly after former President Goodluck Jonathan left office. The former Minister of Finance, Okonjo-Iweala, has actually spoken on it because it was later found out that well, around $300 million actually was approved for the acquisition of weapons now and equipment to fight Boko Haram. But what the EFCC has been able to discover now is that despite that $300 million approval, not all the $300 million actually went to the office of the National Security Advisor at the time. They've discovered that only $250 million eventually got there, even though former President Jonathan actually approved $300 million. So $250 million got to the office of the National Security Advisor. They are still trying to find out where the remaining $50 million went to. And then the EFCC has not been able to trace the balance of $250 million because altogether, remember, the original amount of money involved in this case, $500 million. So altogether, what you would say that the security agencies or the EFCC is trying to trace would be somewhere, it's something around $300 million actually, because, or 350 if you like, because that, yeah, 300 million, I think. That's what the EFCC has not been able to trace. They've not been able to trace 250, and they've not been able to trace 50 out of the 300 that former President Goodluck Jonathan now approved for the acquisition of weapons. Well, we understand they're still investigating. We do not know if at any point in time former President Goodluck Jonathan will be invited now to probably testify or be questioned. It's all a matter of wait and see, but
right.
It's quite disappointing, and people have been expressing their disappointment that this has actually happened.
So that investigation that you're talking about, Deji, what exactly will investigators be seeking to establish? Because it is known that about 250 million is now lost or cannot be traced, and another 50 cannot be traced. So what exactly will investigators be seeking to find?
Well, that's exactly what they'll be doing. They'll be seeking to find, I mean, how this $250 million, for instance, developed maybe legs and hands and just flew off the coffers of government. I mean, who collected that money? Who actually gave approval for that money? I'm talking about the balance of the $250 million now. As we speak, at least there's no record at all showing that the president gave approval. The president actually gave approval for this money, but there's no record showing where the balance of $250 million went to. At least it's clear now. There's a record showing where $350 million went to. The Minister of Finance released $350 million or gave approval for that after former President Goodluck Jonathan had given approval for that. But eventually, what actually got to the office of the National Security Advisor was $250 million. And the investigators will also be seeking to find out if that $250 million that was approved or given out now for the purchase of weapons and equipment, if that money was actually used for the purchase of weapons and equipment, because you know that there's already another case. I mean, another case involving the purchase of weapons and equipment involving, of course, the former National Security Advisor. He's still in detention. So these are the things that the investigators will be seeking to find out. It's quite intriguing, and I think we should still expect more to be unraveled on this case. Beatrice?
Right, Deji Badmus joining us there on that developing situation in Nigeria.